Well, good morning. My name is Tim Hale, the meteorologist, and we have a severe weather outbreak possible into next week, right? And today, on Saturday, the 16th, we have the potential for some increasing tornado risk today. Um, Hail up to 2 inches in diameter, okay? And also high winds approaching hurricane force. In today's forecast, we're going to discuss and focus mostly on today's severe weather and timing, overall synoptic flow, things like that, so you are best informed today to go throughout your day. So to start off with, I'm going to start with this model guidance, GEFS, total severe probability map here with 500 millibar flow at the mid-levels, okay? And what it shows here is what we've been talking about. We got a trough out west here. We're starting to dig to the south here, okay? And it shows severe probabilities on the map here for today, and the highest chances for significant severe in Colorado, parts of Arkansas, Nebraska, and Iowa today, with a smaller chance down here in Texas, and even a little bit of chance of thunderstorms here, maybe into Florida, and also in the Mississippi Valley, okay? So even in Colorado, we have chance for severe weather today as this trough moves through. Now I'm going to move this through a little bit here to tomorrow, just to show you the progression of this. You see how the trough really digs here tomorrow, but it hasn't swung through yet because you got the base of the trough way back, I would say way back here. But you have multiple short waves moving through the flow here. And you can see the focus of severe weather tomorrow. The greatest probabilities here are in parts of Kansas and Nebraska tomorrow, with some more possible, maybe sub-severe stuff along the eastern seaboard. But we're talking about a large area of significant severe weather, even larger area of just severe in general, right? And maybe some elevated convection back here as well into the Intermountain West. Sunday into Monday, maybe Tuesday look to be the most significant, all right? Moving into Monday, we have two areas of focus here, one along the eastern seaboard, mid-Atlantic, and an even more intense one here in the same areas again, right? Parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Illinois here, Iowa mostly, right? Okay. Sorry, I had to state, I was one state over. So, but a large area here of a possibility of severe weather, okay? So generally stretching from southern Texas all the way up to Michigan, Wisconsin, and mid-Atlantic here. Maybe a short wave move through the flow here, but deep southerly flow, okay? You have a high pressure in place down here, and the flow and low-level flow bringing moisture up in this area. And instability, pretty incredible setup here, all right? This is Monday. Going into Tuesday, the 19th. The trough kind of swings through, but you see what looks like a short wave again here. This high is still in control down here to the south. The front, the boundary is sagging slowly this way to the south, right? So if you have another short wave on the backside of this, maybe some significant severe down here into Texas, and maybe some other short waves moving through the flow here. It's hard to make out the little perturbations at this point because you see this is an ensemble of different members, right, on both sides of this. So we're getting more uncertainty of the placement at this point, right? So this model tries to smooth this out with a center line here, okay? So that's the flow this way, average, right? But you get the idea of the flow direction, all right? And where the boundary is, because you know the severe weather is here, anywhere along this boundary. So any short waves or disturbances that move through the flow can be enough to trigger severe weather. Moving into Wednesday, you have more of a zonal flow here now, okay? But it looks like the trough is still out here to the west a little bit. and potential for severe weather in western Texas here, and maybe along the eastern seaboard. General thunderstorms probably down here. The high pressure is moving to the west here a little bit. It was over here yesterday, kind of shifts this way. All right. Going into Thursday, we get a little more of a zonal flow here with the trough remaining offshore here to the west, but generally zonal flow, right? So this will bring moisture and potential for thunderstorms anywhere in this area, right? And into West Texas here, if you get some short waves moving through and dry line interactions, could be likely severe hail and winds, right? To the east here, probably just general thunderstorms at this point. So not looking too significant at this point, although the trough remains offshore here. Okay, according to this is Friday. I'm going to go one more day. So we're going like a week out from today, right? So you have a trough out west here still. Very zonal flow otherwise. Now, will this trough swing through? That remains to be seen, right? Going to Saturday. Looks to remain offshore, but you start to get more of a broad southerly flow here. Not much of one in the central U.S., although the outlook is for thunderstorms in general, probably not expecting significant severe through the end of the week here. So we'll see how this plays out. And next, we're going to go over the severe weather outlook for today, tomorrow, and Monday from the Storm Prediction Center. So now we'll review the overall severe threat for the next 4 or 5 days here first, before we get into the details about today, tomorrow, Monday. All right. So for today, we have an enhanced risk all the way already here and ongoing. Like we've known about this area for quite a while and quite a large area here, right? But the enhanced risk is in parts of southern Nebraska, northwestern Kansas, eastern Colorado, with a slight risk almost to Denver here into parts of Kansas, Iowa, and parts of Nebraska, even in the South Dakota here, with a larger marginal risk going all the way into the higher terrain here of Colorado, right? Kansas, Oklahoma, through Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, just a large area here, and general thunderstorms otherwise. All right. So we got level 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 here with the bullseye here. And we'll go over the different threats here in a minute, but I want to go over the next couple days. The threat moves more to the north and east here. Now you have enhanced risk from parts of southern Nebraska, level 3 out of 5, to parts of Minnesota, South Dakota, and Iowa. Larger 50%, level 2 out of 5 risk, all the way up into Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Kansas, and parts of Colorado once again, and back into the Denver area, Fort Collins, parts of South Dakota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma. That's a mouthful right there. Lots of coverage again tomorrow, right? So quite a wide open warm sector here. Now, Monday looks to be a very impactful day. All right. So this far out, you can see where our level 3 out of 5 risk is enhanced from central Oklahoma, north central Oklahoma, parts of eastern Kansas here, southeastern Nebraska, northwestern Missouri, parts of Iowa, and you have a 15% level 2 out of 5 going all the way up to parts of Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota here, just barely on the border here, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and you see the marginal risk as well. I'm not going to go through that all again, right? But you also got a chance for thunderstorms here in Georgia. So pretty large area once again, spanning all the way from southern Texas up to the Canadian border. And then we go a little bit further out, right? Well, let's switch to the probabilistic here. This is the categories, right? You got your 5% any severe risk, 15, 30, right? Already, day 3, which is Monday, you have this lined region here. Then you have outside of this, the hatch. So in this line region, already the expectation is significant severe SIG2 of any threat, which could mean 3-inch hail, 3.5-inch hail or greater. For winds, it could be above hurricane force and strong to intense tornadoes, right? Like EF3 plus, all right, at this point. And the hatched area is a SIG1. So that equates to up to hurricane force wind gusts, 2-inch hail, and storm tornadoes, EF2. Quite a large 30% risk here. Anywhere outside of that is, tornado threat is there, although less, right? It'll be less. Large hail and gusty winds. So moving into Tuesday, the threat moves further to the south and east, spanning from Oklahoma City to Missouri, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Arkansas, parts of Ohio, like I said, Indiana, and Michigan. Forgive me if I repeat myself. I'm about to talk about today. So we're going to be dealing with this through at least Tuesday. And as a boundary sags farther to the south, the potential is there for severe weather continuing somewhere, generally in this area, and maybe on the backside here, as I talked about in the GFS ensemble outlook, right? So we'll have to keep an eye on this area and down here for heavy rainfall potential, okay? So now begins the detailed analysis here, right? And I like to look at this. This is a 500 millibar flow, right? Overlaid on the water vapor loop. All right, it's a meso-analysis. It comes directly from the SPC feed, right? So this show the X's are a little bit analyzed short waves moving through the flow. You see your 500 millibar trough up here. The other one that we're really interested in is going to swing through and dip down this way, deepen over time, and really bring severe weather for this. Isn't quite here yet, so we're relying on short waves in the atmosphere to move through. And you can see with this water vapor, we have a short wave here, maybe convectively enhanced. Another one here probably. Looks like another one here as well, moving through the flow, right? And maybe some subtle short waves going to be moving through the flow today as well. Will likely trigger more convection in this area, right? So if we look at the SPC graphics for today, see they run enhanced, slight, and marginal risk is. I know it may be hard to see, but I just want to overlay this so we understand where the outlook is and we see what the overall features are. So quite an interesting setup here. A good way to look at it from the mid-levels with the satellite view overlaid 500 millibar flow. Okay. So this page is very useful. It's the SPC analysis, missile analysis page. It shows your flow of 500 millibars, right? So basically this is, the 0 hour about, a minute ago. So this page refreshes every minute. All right, so see most of the mid-level flow and strongest flow is up here, okay? With your trough back here, there's another one up here, 500 millibar, and some enhancement. I know it gets refreshing here and here with this increased flow, right? Some dips in the 500 millibar contours back here. Now let's switch this to 700 millibar. Maybe we can make out some short waves a little bit better. All right. This has dew point values on it, things like that. Temperatures, okay. So drawing on this, you can see like short wave moving through here, one here also, and maybe one here. So, and what looks like some height falls back here, and especially back here with the increased flow. But overall, and back here as well, you see this height falls down here as well. Just a lot of different perturbations moving through the flow. But what you also notice is there's a high pressure to the east here as well. Going back to 500 millibars. There you go with that. Now you go through time with this, you generally make out that the flow remains rather zonal, but to the west, the flow starts dipping some more, right? So this page is very hard to manipulate if I don't like with the cursor and stuff. So I just want to show you the 500 millibar analysis in the future and where the flow is just for the next 6 hours. So I'm going to switch to the HREF analysis, which has a better overall visual depiction of the atmosphere in the next couple of days, and that's where I'm going to continue my analysis next. So this is the HREF. Okay, this is going to be retired in August to favor the REFS, which is the next generation computer models. It's an ensemble, right? So the graphic I just showed you was the meso analysis, which is like current conditions, right? This is model output guidance using our ensemble of the short range cams. So it's a general overall average of the flow, different parameters here. So this is 500 millibars once again. Strongest flow to the north. You can see that here. Okay. And this is much easier to read, isn't it? Right. So this afternoon you have stronger flow to mid levels here, excuse me, and on the backside of this trough. And that will swing through here, right? Okay. Even down here. So this trough will deepen. Okay. This is in the 1400 UTC, which is roughly 2 p.m. Eastern, so 1 p.m. Central. Wait, 2 p.m. Eastern UTC. So about 4 or 5 hours before that. 10, 9 a.m. So pretty early still here. I've done a lot of talking today, guys, so forgive me. See the flow here. It's also depicting those short waves and enhanced flow that we showed on earlier graphics. All right, enhanced flow up to the north moves to the east. You see this trough is really digging down, okay? And you can make out what looks like a short wave moving through here. It's not as easy to see and not more as defined on the HREF as it is in a single model, but you get what's going on here, okay? Some subtle height rises right ahead of it. So wherever these height falls occur will lead to a potential severe weather. See this jet streak here, and stronger flow on the backside. Some stronger flow developing here as well. This is 2300, which is 11 UTC. Okay, so 11 UTC is roughly, it's 11 p.m. UTC, so about 7 or 8 p.m., 5 or 6 p.m. in the Midwest, right? Okay, let's move this through. See how the flow really gets enhanced here. Okay, with this trough swinging through, short wave, some enhancement in the flow here. Okay, so in this area, height falls, severe weather. This trough, the base of the trough hasn't swung through yet. Okay, so it's way back here. So just some shortwave ridging right to the east of it. So you have the height falls back here, height rises to the east. Some more height falls down here with some intense jet streak moving through the flow. Maybe some enhancements back down to here. Now I switch this over to 700 millibars, which is a little bit closer to the surface. You can see the height falls way down to here, right? And you can make out numerous little perturbations moving through the flow here, okay? And then height rises above it, okay? But this is a very impressive look for the west, right? With this deep southerly flow. Now if we move closer to the surface, which is 850, right? 850 is as far as this model will go, as far as like different flow patterns. It's got 500, 700, 850. It gives us a good proxy for the level jet here into the evening hours. See how this really ramps up into the overnight hours in here, especially into parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and points to the north. What looks like a surface low developing here in the overnight hours. Okay, early on with this, and it looks like a surface low developing here, maybe a little bit. Now, if we go to the dew point, right, so we see that surface low initially there, and it just kind of moves to the north a little bit, And the highest dew points you can see. Now let's put the SPC outlook over this. There you go. Makes sense why that's there, right? Think about it. You have your surface low, highest dew points right in this area, most vorticity, spin in the atmosphere, kinematics, you know, with the moisture, the kinematics meaning winds, right? Winds turning with height, strong winds aloft, shear, and moisture. Deep, warm sector here. You see this? 60, 70 degree dew points, and 70 degree dew points up here, right? In parts of Oklahoma and Kansas. So let's go back a little bit with this. This is a really good depiction of this, okay? That surface low really doesn't do much in the overnight hours, okay? It's kind of just not really strengthening and not moving a lot. Eventually it moves to the north here and will strengthen eventually as the base of the trough moves through. You can see down here now we have 996 millibars, low pressure with a deeper southerly flow here into Monday. 70 degree dew points all the way down the Gulf Coast, 60 degree dew points all the way up into parts of the Midwest here. And you see where the boundary is here. And all along this boundary and right where the surface low is where the greatest chance for severe weather is into Sunday as well. Okay. Broad warm sector here. All right. So now we're not even to the Monday threat yet, but this is as far as this goes. And that's as far as I'm going to take it here with this. So now let's review the convective elements here and see what it looks like on the map. So what I've done here, I've moved this forward. We have ongoing showers and storms moving through the flow today. We got the different models on your right here, which are part of the CAM ensemble, okay? So we're going to focus on our area of interest for today, right? Okay, here's our area of interest for today. With storms continuing on the eastern side of this, which is very possible we have some significant severe weather here as well, although the marginal risk is there. I want to focus specifically on this area. Let's put this to the HRRR. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on a second. All right. So move through time here. HRRR. Not much going on with the exception of back over here to the east. And then short wave moves through. Low level gets going. You have a lot of convection here, rotating storms along the boundary in the overnight hours. So this looks to really ramp up as we get into the evening hours here with a lot of intense convection here. So these are, and we'll show the updraft velocity here, probabilities, or the greatest coverage is here. If we switch to the other models, different ideas about what's going to happen here. However, they all show something going on here. So the timing is pretty much consistent throughout the cams here. So that hence leads to greater probabilities of severe weather today. Now, let's look at the calibrated guidance on hail from the SPC for today. This is 4-hour hail guidance. See where the highest calibrated hail guidance is here. Has some higher probabilities out to the east. To start with, 15% in the yellow areas, 5% otherwise, and 2% in the non-colored areas, right? Now we go to tornado. Remember, the tornado threat isn't quite as high today, although we got a tornado threat out to the east here and begins to ramp up in the overnight hours in the central part of this area, right, that we talked about, to 1%. So not overly that impressive. And here's your helicity swaths max, right? Greater than 75 meters per square per second squared. So you can see what the probabilities are like 2% here. Okay. So this is pretty accurate, I would say. And I think this is what the SPC uses to calibrate their outlooks as well. Wind risk, to start off with, we have this highest wind risk out to the east, 5%. then the wind risk starts to ramp up here with the highest probabilities, it looks like, in northwestern Kansas, parts of Nebraska, Colorado, right? And a larger 5% in the brown, all the way down to Texas. Another higher area into parts of Iowa, Missouri here. And you see that red bullseye moves to the north and east as that system moves through, right? And we get into day 2, which is tomorrow. And we'll look at the swaths of helicity. You see them all over the map here. Now it's worth looking at the significant tornado parameter values. All right. This is your 24-hour calibrated STP values, 5% here. So, and 2% back here. So definitely possible we can have some significant tornadoes in this brown area. All right. So a lot we discussed today. I try to go over as much detail as possible without boring everybody to death, but you know, I like to go into detail. I hope y'all got some out of this. There's a lot going on the next several days. I'll do my best to give you the most accurate information possible. I hope you all have a great day. Be safe out there. Stay tuned to your local National Weather Service offices. Have multiple ways to receive alerts. As always, weather radio, phone. Don't rely on outdoor sirens. You may not hear them in your house, okay? Always have multiple ways to receive alerts. And if you live in this area, you should be prepared anyway. But always check on your supplies and things like that. So I know I am repeating myself about this every day, but it's important. Be safe out there. God bless y'all. Have a great day.